Hello everyone, welcome back to the Library Reader, where you listen to a dirt poor girl talk about library stuff. Alright, so today's video is a happy second day of November. I am personally dead tired. I it's really weird. I was so terrified of like basically being late for work that I've only got maybe 3 hours of sleep. So I'm functioning on 3 hours of sleep. I am not happy about that, but what are you gonna do? Maybe 4 hours of sleep. Maybe 4 hours. So okay, probably 4 hours of sleep, but if you really look at it, I got about 5 hours of sleep. So I might be good. But they got this wonderful invention called coffee, and I'm taking full advantage of it. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest gripes that I have when you are a dirt poor girl that prioritizes what she needs to prioritize, doesn't have a lot of money to prioritize it, and is left with probably $80. $80 after everything. So, one of my biggest complaints when I look at people that y'all know they are more financially up there than you are, when they talk about their super expensive Kobo Libra or Kobo Claire or Kobo Color. Ever since I started working at a job where I get paid every week, I get more and more angry at people that decide that they want to show off how up there they are while looking down upon the rest of us as though we're nothing. So I did a video about the fact that I cannot stand influencers that prioritize indie bookstores, Barnes & Nobles, and Amazons. And don't get me wrong, I love Barnes & Noble. I love Barnes & Noble to death. I have a Barnes & Noble membership. All that wonderful stuff. I love it. I love it to death. Barnes & Noble is my favorite bookstore to go to. But even I know when I can't make it out to one. Like, I have not been to a Barnes & Noble since April. Because April is when I bought my Nook Glow Light 4 Plus. This was my last device that I splurged on. My last device that I could actually physically buy. I actually worked 6 days last month, and my paycheck was a little bit over $500 after they took taxes out and stuff. And I decided, because I didn't have any bills, I was going to splurge on the new Nook Glow Light 4 in the ocean teal. My backup Nook, what I'm going to be using if this device goes south. So that was my present to myself, especially when I saw it was going to come out. I was supposed to be getting it by December 1st. Okay, great. This is my birthday present to myself. Awesome, wonderful, cannot wait. And I cannot wait to unbox it. I cannot wait. But here's the thing. The difference between me and them is I do not have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 devices for reading ebooks. I can read ebooks on my phone. I have not changed my thing, I know. I can read my ebooks on my phone. My brother, I gave my brother $90 towards the phone bill so that I can have this. So people can harass me and call me up. Especially my manager. I had a job working at the post office where my checks were big, but I still prioritized what I had to prioritize. And yes, I had enough money left over to buy a Kobo I was like, no, I'm not buying a Kobo. I'm not going on the bandwagon because everybody is, if you want to have books through all platforms, go right on ahead and do that. But I personally don't see the need for a new device unless it's a Nook and it's a backup. Why do I say unless it's a Nook? Because I find that the simplicity of the Nook fits my lifestyle perfectly. I don't want rapid page turning. I don't want this. I don't want that. I am happy with what I have. And that's a problem with a lot of people, is they're not happy with what they have. And I have two Kindles. I got one over there and I got one over there. I'm going to sell both of them. I do not want to use them anymore. I've got a Kindle app on my tablet, but it's a Nook tablet. It's a Lenovo. Lenovo and Barnes & Noble teamed up. They collaborated to create a tablet where you could actually get the books and you did not, you could bypass the Play Store. Even on my phone, I will get books. And it's like you can go on the Nook app on your phone, and you can also purchase books. Or get books. I always, every Friday, I check to see what free book, is coming out. What I really like about Nooks is that they have a $2.99 or under bin where you can get a ebook for 90% less than what Amazon would charge for the same book. And I just feel like I'm not putting money in Jeff Bezos' thing. But here's the thing about when you see people showing off their Kobos, you decide, I'm going to see how much one of these things costs. The popular Kobo Libra color is nearly $230. If you're a person that literally wants color, but they don't want to deal with Amazon, but they also like the page turn buttons, which my Nook has. It is the only e-readers in a line that actually has page turn buttons. Now the tablet does not, because it's a tablet. But you literally have these page turn buttons that people that are still using their Kindles really miss, but they don't want to leave Amazon because of Kindle Unlimited. But the thing about these people with these really expensive devices, and I even go after people with Kindle Scribes, which over $500, is that when they show off their super expensive readers, and this may not be their intention when they do this, but they're looking down on us poor people, and they're like, looky what you'll never be able to afford. And yeah, they have the Kobo color or Kobo Claire, whatever. I don't know if it's a color or not a color. It's $159. But for a lot of people on extremely fixed incomes, they can't afford it. I'm on an extremely fixed income. Yes, I splurged for that Nook, but that was because I didn't have any bills to pay, and it was pay week for my brother. My brother works at a much better, much more like place. You get paid more money. So I bought it because I didn't have expenses for that pay period. I did not. I did not have expenses. I did not have to worry about, like, oh, if I go and spend this money for this reader, am I going to be able to afford to keep the lights on? Am I going to be able to afford to put food on the table? And the answer was, yes, I've already paid my gas, electric bill. Yes, yes, you know, food's coming. My brother's going to go grocery shopping. Things like that. So there was nothing that kept me from doing it. But if my check was like $3.49 or $3 whatever, I would not be paying $100 and some bucks for a new reader. I'd be like, no, I don't need it. It's cool. It's a beautiful looking reader. I don't need it. I already have a Nook Low Light 4 Plus. I already have a Nook tablet. I don't need another reader. So that's me. And then, of course, have you ever noticed that that the people that do these massive book hauls, they go and they can afford to buy books from Barnes and Noble or from Amazon. And it's also another way of saying, look at what I bought and what you will never be able to afford to buy. You will never see influencers at a library. Now, there's people on TikTok that they primarily do library hauls and everything, and I do library hauls on TikTok. I do reviews of library books on TikTok because I really want to push it out there that, yes, libraries are a great place to get books that you don't have to pay for. But it's so annoying. It really is. And it's like, and what's really weird, I shouldn't say it's weird, but it's really cool at the same time. So on my receipt, like when I check out books, they will tell me how much money I have saved by using my library card. How much money I have saved by using my library card. And it absolutely stuns me at how much money I save. Like, I remember one year, this was after I got my... So, here's a weird story. Have you ever been so terrified of going to a building because you know you owe them money? I literally, I think it was 3 years ago or maybe 4 years ago, one of the years, I went out, it was payday, I went out and I withdrew like $20 because I was going to do something. And what I was actually doing is I was actually going to buy a Kindle. Because I went on to like Target and they're like, oh yeah, we got Kindles. And okay, great. So I decided to go by the library. Absolutely terrified of this place. I looked at it like it was like from The Conjuring. And I was like, okay girl, gotta suck it in and go in there. They're not Medusa's sisters. But it's funny now. But when I was standing in front of those doors, terrified of going through those doors because I did not know what was going to happen. It was a real fear of like the unknown, like, oh, I bet you I owe hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in fines. So to ensure I wasn't blocking the way for anybody else that didn't owe money, I walked in and I was amazed at like how big this library is. You can rent laptops and it's amazing. And so I walk up to the counter. I'm terrified and stuff. And the lady looks at me and goes, "Hey, what can I do for you today?" I was like, that's how I felt like inside. And then it's like, I said, yes, my name is my name. And I said, yes, I haven't been to a library. And I think it was 3 years or something like that. And I know I owe you guys money. So I need to kind of know what my fines are. And so she said, well, I'll look it up. And you know how people can tell when somebody doesn't know policy has changed when they mention the word fines and they don't actually have them anymore? And she looked at me and goes, well, we don't have fines anymore. And I looked at her. I was actually genuinely shocked. And she goes, oh, yeah, you only owe us like $15 and I think it was like 95 cents or something like that. I took my 20 out, gave it to her. She gave me like five. She said, I don't have any dime and nickels. I was like, don't worry about it. So I put my 5 in there. She gave me a brand new library card, and I walked out there debt-free. So I was very happy about it. I did get my Kindle, and then that's when I discovered Libby, and I have been using that ever since. And so when I started to go back to the library and start checking books out, they had a thing, I think it's either down at the bottom or down up the top. I have to look at my checkout slip. But it tells you how much money that you are saving by not buying the book off of Amazon or not buying the book off of Barnes & Noble. And I asked the question about that particular thing. I said, what? Because I was a little confused when I first saw it. And I was like, what is this number here? Like, and she goes, well, and the way I explained it is, well, we're trying to get people to stop buying books off of Amazon and Barnes & Noble by showing them how much money they're actually saving by not buying their books from those places. I said, and I looked at like my first 6 months of having, or was it first 6 months or first 8 months? You can tell it's been a long time. I had saved like over $300. And I was like, wow. So it's really cool that they show you, hey, this is how much savings you're actually saving, not what you think you're saving. So for me, it's always been a no-brainer to go to the library. But when you see people spending that much money in one video, you go, damn. Anyways, I gotta get ready to go to work. I want to close this video by saying, if you have, as much as I don't like Kindles, and I don't, if you have a good e-reader, if you have an e-reader that still works, don't buy a Kobo. Don't buy a Kobo just so you can be popular. As I said, as much as I don't like Kindles, if it works, continue to use it. I was just blessed and fortunate that I was at a job where I could afford my Nook tablet and my Nook Glow Light 4 Plus. And as I said, if I had a bunch of bills to pay, I would not have got the Ocean Teal Nook Glow Light 4. Anyways, yeah. So, when that device comes in, I will be doing an unboxing. I will not be turning it on because of the fact that it is my backup Nook. Alright, so anyways, I will see you guys around. Until next time, be well, continue to read those books, and continue to support your local libraries. Bye.